Welcome back to the channel where history isn't just told, it's revealed. Tonight, we step inside a glittering room in Europe Wall. A room filled with powerful men. A room where no Africans were invited. Yet the decisions made inside would redraw an entire continent. This is not just a meeting. This is the moment Africa's fate was negotiated in silence. Let's begin. In 1884, in the heart of Berlin, 14 powerful nations gathered under chandeliers and polished ceilings. Their mission? To bring order to Africa. But Africa was not in chaos. It was organized, structured, governed. Long before European colonization, the continent was home to advanced states like the Sokoto Caliphate, the Ethiopian Empire, the Ashanti Kingdom, and powerful southern nations like the Zulu. Yet to European industrial powers, Africa represented something else: rubber, ivory, gold, palm oil, labor, prestige. The late 19th century was an era of industrial acceleration. Britain, France, and a newly unified Germany were competing not just economically, but symbolically. Empire was status, and Africa was the prize.
Die Grenzen müssen präzise sein. Oui, pour le contrôle effectif. The interior lines are key.
Tensions between European nations were rising fast. Expeditions were pushing inland, flags were being planted, claims were overlapping. A European war over Africa seemed possible. Enter Germany's Chancellor Otto von Bismarck. He proposed a conference, not to consult Africans, but to prevent Europeans from fighting each other. So from November 1884 to February 1885, the Berlin Conference took place. 14 nations attended. Not one African representative sat at the table. No king, no chief, no scholar, no voice from the continent being discussed. The rules they created would shape Africa forever. The most important principle was effective occupation.
Gentlemen, to prevent conflict among ourselves.
You could not simply draw a line on a map and claim land. You had to physically control it with administrators, soldiers, or settlements. Within decades, nearly 90% of Africa was under European control. Belgium's King Leopold II secured personal control over the Congo Free State.
This is my claim, the Congo Free State. Its wealth shall serve my empire.
It was not a Belgian colony. It was his private property. Rubber quotas were enforced with violence. Entire villages were punished. Millions are estimated to have died under forced labor, disease, and brutality. Britain expanded through East and Southern Africa, dreaming of a continuous empire from Cape Town to Cairo. France dominated vast stretches of West and Central Africa. Germany claimed territories that would later become Namibia, Tanzania, Cameroon, and Togo. Portugal and Spain secured smaller zones, but the borders they drew ignored reality. Ethnic groups were split across lines. Historic rivals were forced into shared colonies. Trade networks were severed. Political systems dismantled. Africa was divided with rulers and ink, and the consequences were immediate. Resistance erupted across the continent. Leaders like Samori Toure fought French expansion in West Africa.
War is like happening! Warriors, I stand on freedom! Hold the line for Ethiopia!
In East Africa, Ethiopian forces defeated Italy at the Battle of Adwa. This was one of the rare African victories against European colonialism. In southern Africa, the Herero uprising challenged German rule. The Berlin Conference may have prevented European war temporarily, but it intensified competition. And the rivalries over colonies contributed to the tensions that would explode into World War I. By the mid-20th century, African nationalism surged. Educated elites, veterans, and activists demanded independence. Between the 1950s and 1960s, most African nations regained sovereignty. But they inherited the borders drawn in Berlin, lines created without their consent. Those borders still define the continent today. The Berlin Conference was presented as diplomacy. But for Africa, it was division without representation. A continent mapped in silence, and a legacy still unfolding. History is not just about what happened. It is about who had the power to decide. The Berlin Conference reminds us that decisions made in rooms far away can shape generations. And sometimes, the loudest event in history is the one where a people had no voice at all. The Berlin Conference was presented as diplomacy, a peaceful negotiation between powerful nations. But peace for whom? In a single room in Europe, lines were drawn across a continent thousands of miles away. Lines that ignored languages, ignored kingdoms, ignored history. Africa was not empty. It was not waiting to be claimed. It was divided without consent. And the consequences did not end in 1885. They echoed through resistance movements, through independence struggles, through the borders that still shape nations today. The map of Africa changed in Berlin, but the spirit of Africa did not break. If this story challenged what you thought you knew about colonial history, make sure you're subscribed. Because history isn't just about the past, it's about understanding the forces that shape the present. And next time, we step into another room, another decision, another moment that reshaped the world. I'll see you in the next one.